Hello, everybody. Welcome to Koha Global Bug Squashing Week, second day. I'm very excited because today I'm here with Lizette and Kelly from Bywater, and they are going to do something really cool for us. We are going to explore setting up your devbox. So we're going to talk all about setting up a Koha testing environment using Docker and helping you streamline your setup. So whether you're new or looking to improve your current setup, this session is going to give you some guidance and examples you can apply immediately. So with that, welcome everyone, and I'm going to turn it over to Lizette and Kelly. Thanks so much.
Hi everyone, welcome. I'm gonna start with sharing a couple links and sharing my screen just to kind of show. We talked on, not, was it just last week, Kelly, that we had baby devs?
Yes.
Or,
Yep.
okay. Last week we had the Koha US baby devs meeting, and we did the first part of Kelly's setup because part of it takes a little while to download. And so we went through the point that has the long download. Um, and So a few resources we have the main Koha testing Docker README, which has instructions, but it's also a little more like dev focused and assumes a certain amount of like knowledge about using Git and generally like using terminal and things. But Brendan at Clams made this awesome um, page that we've Baby Devs has added a little more to that has some information about like just getting started, checking the dashboard, things like that. And we did on Thursday installing dependencies. And we have specific ones for Linux, Mac, and the default is Windows because that's what was missing the most instructions on the main README. Linux and Mac is a little more straightforward because of the like underlying parts of Linux and Mac. Um, and so we went through and made sure Docker was installed. Well, we did it on Mac, so let's look at the Mac one. Um, made sure Docker was installed VS Code, I think, or we talked about doing it next time. Um, it talks a little bit about what the terminal is, which is just it's where you can type codes in, and then or like commands in, and did just some basic commands. We made a directory for our Git, for Git and for our projects, and then made sure Docker was installed VS Code, made that project directory. It's in there twice. Um, and then cloned the Koha repository, which over the years Koha's got pretty big. So we like to do that separately because if everyone starts downloading it, it gets real slow. And so we just wanted to make sure that we had up through that part. So I think now, oh, a couple other links I wanted to share. Koha US put together a great, Jason at Koha US put together this Koha DevBox ref guide, which is available on koha-us.org under the learning section. Let me turn off my, well, that's fine. And then also, it's just helpful to have this available, the commit messages, because sometimes you have to go look at like, oh yeah, how do you format that again if you have to create a commit message for some reason. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and we're gonna go back to Kelly's terminal.
Okay. There we are. Uh,
So, looks like we'll want to, um, why don't you change directory CD space? Because we want to be in your Git directory. So Git. And then ls, that lists all the files. So we just have Koha. We haven't done the clone Koha test in Docker repository. It's a lot smaller. It's just like the tools to make it work. So if you want to copy that same git clone, there you go.
Okay.
Much faster. Now if you ls, there's two files because there's also the Koha test in Docker. So under, we don't have the Mac specific instructions yet for this, but it's the same as the bash RC, except we do the bash ZRC, I think is what it was, that was on the previous ZSH, yeah. Um, so if you do echo, means it'll tell that line to go into that file, basically. So then space, single quote, export, and then space, all caps projects, underscore, all caps dir, equals, money sign, and then the same thing, where it's the project's dir. Oh, that's the wrong link. Sorry, putting a link into the chat someone asked about. And then single quote again, space, two of the like forward things. Yeah. Space, tilde, slash, dot, ZSHRC, all lowercase, and then enter. So, okay, good. If you want to just copy from the other page where it has the echo export, and just rename the bash RC into ZSHRC for
Okay.
those. So what this is doing is that it's saying we want to call something called projects directory. And we want it to be like part of our environment. And that just makes it easier to do certain commands that get listed later to do certain things so that you're not having to do as long of commands to get different places and things like that. And it also helps Koha testing Docker can then also look at these variables and know how to like where Koha is and everything. And who the user is and all that kind of stuff. And so that just makes it easier for, well, it makes it so Koha testing Docker can work, and also makes some commands easier. So then, oh, yep, you've got one more. Okay, so if you do cat is a command that shows you what's in a file. So if you do the same as the tip command that's on the screen there, but with the ZSHRC instead.
Get back on that line.
Control C, or just hit enter. Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Huh.
Now I'm just pressing buttons.
Escape key. Okay, Q. Oh, weird. Yeah, Control C. That didn't work.
There it goes. Okay.
Oh, there we
I
go.
must have hit command. I'm on Mac, so I must have hit command on accident.
Yeah. Okay, so cat space tilde slash dot CSHRC.
There we go.
And then hit enter. So that just shows you that it's got that information so that Koha Test and Docker knows how to access it. Okay, so then we need to source that file. So if you do source, actually hit the up arrow and then go back to the beginning where it says cat, either with the home button or just arrows. And then delete cat and type source and then hit enter. So that just told your terminal that it needs to look at that because before it didn't know to look at that because you didn't have anything in there. Up arrows, super nice because it'll let you go up to the commands that you just did. So you don't have to like retype the same thing multiple times, stuff like that. And we can scroll past because that's method 2. That's just a different way of doing it. That next part. So next we need to do is add you to the Docker group. And that just means that you have permission to, actually, I wonder if we had to do this in Mac or if this is more Windows. If you do, if you just copy that command in, that sudo user mod, that's like modify the user, add them to the group Docker, and that user that should just work. Oh, you gotta put in your password though, because the sudo, that's like a root level access. I know I always type it wrong. Okay, so it's different for Macs. So I can see that when I helped Jesse set this up, I searched for the same thing. Docker Mac add user to group. Sometimes we've gotta Google things. Install interactively. Don't need to do any of that. Oh, you might not need, we might be able to actually just skip that step on Mac. So the next thing would be to create and edit the Koha testing Docker environment file. So if we can do that, just straight copy that command. So that's going to change us into the project directory, which is where we actually are. Oh, see, it doesn't like, we might not have done the project directory right because it doesn't know that here is the project directory. Well, that's interesting. We can do this part manually while I figure out what we did wrong. But since we're already in Git, if you just change directory to Koha dash and then hit tab, that'll autofill and then enter. And then you can copy the next one straight across. That's just going to copy the environment defaults into this folder called .environment.
Is it this one?
Into the yeah, that one. Into the folder that you're in and call it .env. And then, did we set up VS Code on your computer?
I have it installed.
Okay, so
Yeah.
why don't you open that and we can edit the defaults in there
Yeah.
or edit what we need to in there. So if you go to like file, probably up at the very top on the, it's on the Mac bar on the top, I think. Oh, or open down here.
New?
Yeah, open. Oh no, sorry. Um, Open, not new file.
Oh,
So
okay. Okay.
then we want to go to Git, Koha testing Docker, and then scroll down a little bit. Did it not copy it? Or is it hidden because it's .env? Um, why don't you cancel out of here real quick? And then instead of opening a file, say open folder. And we'll do git Koha testing Docker and then just say open. Because that will also let us see, yeah, there's the .env file on the left. Yep. So, okay, yes. So here, I'm gonna open mine just so I can see a little, read a little better to talk about the different bits here. If I can figure out where mine is. There we go. Okay, so most of this we don't need to do anything with. Um, do you have a Bugzilla account, Kelly?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, so we'll need to get you set up with a Bugzilla account. Um, so if you go to Bugzilla, bugs.koha-community.org,
Hmm. Well, I've been looking at bugs. Okay.
and then new account,
All right. Let me find that.
and if you want to pause screen sharing while you do this, that is totally good because you'll also need to put your password in that file and you don't need to show us that.
Yeah. Okay.
And yes, David, thanks for sharing those links in the chat for Windows and the regular setup. There are also the installing dependencies also has pages now for Mac and Linux for some of the specific stuff there. So once you've, here, let me. Well, you work on that. I'll just talk a little bit about this. Okay, so once you put in the Bugzilla information, most of this you don't need to change at all. It's just the default so that it knows what to do, that it's going for the main image, which is the most up-to-date version. Um, all of this stuff is just mostly so that Koha testing Docker knows how to set it up, and has some of these ports and stuff. Okay, where's my zoom controls there? And this sometimes gets updated by an update to Koha testing Docker. For example, one of my lines in there is mana URL, which is for the mana data sharing tool that has been developed for sharing reports and serials and stuff. That recently got added by default to Koha testing Docker, so it's easy to set it up and test how to use that. Um, and things like that.
Okay, so I got the Bugzilla account set up. Am I putting it in the VS Code now? Or that
Yeah,
I
so where getBZ password is, you need your password and your username, where your username um, is a get account required. I don't think that it's actually required to do the get account. We have it on, if you have a get account, you can add it. It's just your name and email address for your get so that um, Git knows how to associate you. But I think if you don't put it in, it doesn't stop anything. But once you've saved that and closed out of the file so we don't all see your password.
Okay, I think that's saved. Let me see. Yeah, okay, it looked like it's saved all right. So should I start sharing again?
Yeah, just close out of the file so that we don't actually
All right.
accidentally record your password.
Okay.
Okay, so now back in your um, terminal, you should, I believe, be able to just start KTD, which is KTD space up. Up the end, up the word. Sorry.
All right.
Enter. And we'll see if we did everything right. No. Oh, because we had to do something with the aliases to make them work differently in Mac. Um, and that was where was that? Let me find my notes on how we did that part. Yes, thank you, Kelly, for being the guinea pig, as David said in chat. Um, it's not that. If you type alias and then hit enter, okay. So we need to source the bash aliases file. Yeah, except instead of bash, it's gonna be is there a, if it's bash commands, that's not gonna work with ZHS. We would need a ZHS, ZSH, ZSH. I'm looking real quick to see if there's one. Uh-huh. ZSH, so. Oh, okay. That's probably also why the project directory thing didn't work. I told you wrong. I'm gonna send you, it needs to be ZSHENV instead of RC. And that's why the project directory thing didn't work when we did that earlier. You should be able to copy and paste. Oh, if it will let you because Zoom is weird. I can also send it to you in Slack. It should let you just paste the whole thing in and then run all the commands from it. Is it letting you copy that?
Did you send it in Slack?
Yeah. Oh, I sent it in to the wrong person. That's what happened. I was like, wait a second. I clicked on you and then there we go.
Just missed a piece. Let me copy that.
And then, yep. And then we need to source it, and I just sent you the command for that too, since I already made you type it in wrong earlier. Not gonna make you type it all in again. Okay, so now if you do, let's just test this real quick. CD uh space $, all caps projector with the underscore
Project
projects underscore
underscore.
dir, and then hit enter. Okay, that time it worked. Although it looks like it put you too far up, but we can sort that out later. Now if you do KTD up, no. Um, if you do, um, if you go up with up arrow twice to where you did the CD, if you change the CD to echo, I think,
Oh, just the CD part.
just the CD part.
Oops. Now what did I do?
Oh, you just sourced it again, that's fine.
That to echo. Okay.
And then enter. And you can enter from anywhere on the line. Okay, so that might not have worked. Because that needs to be get and not where it is right now. So, well, what we could do is, let's see, projects directory, sync repo. Yeah, I feel like there's a step missing about how to define what projects directory is. Unless it's, well, you're in, aha, that's why. It's because there's a command that was missing. Because we need to tell it that projects directory is the get projects directory. Now if you do go up to the echo again and enter. Okay. Now if you alias, does it know to look there? No. Okay. So we still need to tell it to look at the aliases. Did that. Well, the other thing we can do is look and see what that is, but um it's gonna be KTD. I wonder actually if you close your terminal all the way and then open a new one. And then if you hit up arrow twice, or yeah, to there, let's make sure that's stuck. It did not. Okay, so what we need to do is go up to where we were defining projects directory, which is 2 or 3 up, I think. There. And we need to look at the other commands that we did where we did that echo. So at the start, it needs to be echo, and then like just before this, at the very beginning of this.
Oh, okay, right here.
Yep. All the way beginning, yeah. We'll still need export
Oh,
because we're gonna do the same thing we did with those other ones where we do echo and then space and a quote. And then
single quote.
either way, we just need to use the same one at the end. And then at the end, do the same quote.
Oh, at the end of all of that.
Yep. And then the little space, 2 forward arrow things, tilde slash, space, tilde slash, dot, ZSHENB.
ENB.
And then enter. And then now, if you hit Control R and then type source and then hit enter, that does a search of your history. So it can be helpful if you're like, well, I know I sourced this before, but it was a while ago and I don't want to press the up arrow like 100 times to get there. Control R does like a history search. So now if you hit the alias, still not showing there. Well, what we could do, because I'm not sure why it's not, I think that might be a difference in the Mac where we have to tell it something in particular. Because bash aliases wouldn't work, I don't think. It might though, actually. If you here, wait. I'll just send you the source.
With full acknowledgement that I'm coming in partway through this. So this might not be relevant. I've got all of that stuff in my ZSHRC file instead of my bash file because the Mac terminal defaults to
That's what we did.
Lansing.
We just had to copy it into the Z. Okay, yep. So, here, I'm gonna send you the link that has that. This is just part of the code. So if you open that up, yeah, so you can see those aliases. If you copy that,
All of it?
yep.
Okay.
And then if you um nope, we don't want to paste it in there yet. Because actually we need to,
Oops.
I don't know what the default is on Mac. If you, I mean, I guess we could probably do it the same way we did the other export stuff, but if you type VI space, I'm not sure what the default is, but we can try it. Tilde backslash dot ZSH and imv. We want to edit that file. Ah, it does work. So if you do press the button I, that's going to put you in insert mode for editing. And then hit enter, and then up arrow, and then try paste in, Control V or Command V. Oh, good. And then actually, since your projects directory, it didn't save that, it looks like, but we can just put what we had you typing in before, which is the at where it has the equals after that. You probably have to use arrows, yeah. Slash git or home slash git. Oh, is it there twice? Is that why? Yep. Okay, so actually you can just delete this line because it's there at the end. Good catch, Casey. And then escape, and that will get you out of edit mode. And then colon, which gets you into kind of like the save area. And then WQ for write and quit. And then enter. And that'll save it. And now if you go up to where you source your environment file again, there we go. Hit enter. And now if you do alias. Okay. Yay. So this one actually has different commands than, because it actually isn't the KTD one. How do we get the KTD to work on Mac, Andrew?
I'm not quite sure what your question is. Like, what do you
Oh,
mean?
like the KTD command wasn't working? And I was thinking it was an alias, but it's not part of these aliases.
Um,
But
Let
it
me
is
say
an,
my aliases. Yeah, it should be KTD up, and you might need to do it from the Koha testing Docker directory.
I wonder if it's because we weren't in the directory and that's why. So if you cd into git slash and then cd koha dash tab. Oh, there's a H missing.
Oh no. Okay.
And then just try running KTD up. Yeah. Oh, okay, it did work that time. So, well, it's asking you if you want to let it access files. So right now it's just making sure everything's up to date. Because like there's been stuff pushed to Koha since we last did this last week. So it's gotta pull any new changes. Um, though that does seem like a lot of new changes. 1.7 gigs. Luckily, we're not on hotel conference internet, which is often what we run into when we try doing this live at an event. So this is just telling you all sorts of things that it's running now. Um,
You can tell it to do all of this in the background, and then it doesn't
yeah,
like steal your tab to be running, to be always outputting what KTD is up to. But I always get confused if I tell it to do this in the background because then I don't know when it's ready.
yeah. Well, so what I do, so my alias is, let me find it. I actually don't use a straight up alias because I've got myself real complicated with all of this. Um, and I use um a custom bash function, but uh, oh, that's not the right thing.
Hey, good news. You got to the it is started up and ready to be enjoyed message.
Oh, yay.
Didn't
So
die
if
with a mysterious error.
Yay, that's always good. So if you open up your browser, whichever browser you like to use, and then type in localhost colon 8081, enter.
Yay.
That's your login for the interface. And for KTD, the default is always Koha Koha. So username Koha, password Koha.
Awesome.
And Google will always warn you that there's been a breach and it's not safe. I haven't been able to figure out how to turn that off.
Oh, I did somehow. I'll look around and see if I can find it.
You might have to turn it off for everything. You might be able to just have it never warn you. That might be the only way to stop it. I don't think you can set it for a specific site. So you have a functional Koha environment right now. When you're done and you close this down, the data isn't persistent, so like next time it comes up, any changes that you've made aren't going to be there. Always good to talk about early on and remind people frequently, because I forget sometimes. Um, and
But closing it down doesn't mean like closing the browser window, like
right,
going back to the terminal and telling KTD to stop. When you bring
yes,
KTD down entirely, it resets itself.
yes. Um, so let's talk about how to do that real quick. Slash also, if you go back to terminal,
Mhm.
slash also, I stopped talking in the middle of my sentence. Can you, under terminal, will it let you make another window? Yeah, new window. Shell new window, I think it was.
Where was that? Show new window.
Shell, I think.
Command T
Uh,
should give you a new tab too.
okay.
Oh, or new tab, yeah.
Yeah.
So now if you do KTD or no, K shell and hit enter, now you are in the Koha environment. So this is what's built by Koha Test in Docker. How Docker works is it basically builds like a little machine that's running it, and it's on Debian, so like it's like a little Debian machine on your machine. Um, that's gonna all the commands will be the same across different things. And so how I always work, because this is how someone taught me to do it, is I use the branches. Um, this also lets you like test something. Um, here, I'm gonna put this reference sheet in the chat again. Um, this is helpful if you're like applying a patch and then want to easily be able to switch between it applied and it not applied, um, or things like that. Also, it just makes it easier, I think, at the end to be done with it. Um, so do you want to open up the link that I just put in chat, in the Zoom chat?
Right now.
So that section 4 local branches, how that works is basically it lets you check out a branch and then it makes like a new branch name. Then you'll be able to do things on that branch, and when you're done, you can git checkout main, and it'll take you back to main Koha, and you can delete the branch. So it's easy to just be like, okay, that's all there. That's done now, deleted. The other way to do it is also on here, and it is somewhere, I think. Oh, or is this is the devbox rev sheet, not the I had the wrong one. Yep. Thank you, Jason. Jason just put the correct link in the chat because I had the wrong one open. Um, so this is the Koha testing Docker one, not the older Koha devbox one. That was before we had Koha testing Docker, and it was much more finicky. So this has a lot of helpful things. Updating your Koha and your Koha testing Docker is that first section under helpful resources. Commands, more commands outside of Koha, commands inside the Koha container that are helpful. Has the branch commands. So one of the things that we have is in Bugzilla, there is a bug that's just for testing being able to do things on bugs. And that bug is basically so we can make sure you can log in and do anything. Oh, yes, test bug for GetBZ. So if you see in the apply a patch where it has GetBZ apply bug number, under useful Git commands, and then it's like after, yep. So yeah, we can paste that in and then delete where it says bug number, and we'll do 6473 and hit enter. It'll sometimes take a sec. There we go. It says, hey, do you want to apply these? So it got those patches, and those are some patches that are on there. Oh yeah, sorry. I talked about branches and then didn't actually do it. So hit N. No, that'll stop applying the branch. Thank you,
I,
David.
I always don't do branches and then think, man, I should have made a branch.
Yeah, and then hit enter. So that'll say, actually, no, I don't want to apply. First, we want to do git space checkout space -b. So that's telling it we need a new branch. And then space, whatever you want to call your branch. I usually try to do bug underscore the bug number so that when I have to apply the bug number and later attach the bug, it's right there. So this would be 6473. And then if it's something that you're going to be spending longer on, you can have it like follow main so that you can keep it up to date. But for just most testing, you don't need to worry about that. So hit enter.
And that
So it's,
command I can see is the first in the list of useful Git commands on that cheat sheet.
oh yeah.
I don't need to add so much.
Oh yeah,
I can let you talk, Lizette. Sorry.
the origin/main, yes. I just stopped after that because I don't usually bother with it unless I'm think it's something that's gonna be working on longer. But it is good and easy to do. So now you're on a different branch and you can see where it has the yellow bug 6473. So if you go up arrow a few times to where we apply it, yep, hit enter. And this time when it loads up, we'll say Y, enter for yes. So it'll apply the patches and probably give errors. But that's okay. Then we can see what that looks like. Yep. So pulling back. Okay. If you do git log, enter. So that shows you what was most recently applied. And it's actually the same as main. If you look at the branch, it has head, but your branch, and origin main and main are all the same last commit. So usually that means that either these have already been pushed in and um or yeah, or that it didn't actually apply, but it said that they applied. So, or that they were already applied. And that's just because these patches are actually in Koha somewhere. So, um, but we did successfully connect to GetBZ to Bugzilla. So, um, that's pretty successful. We'll need to find a bug to try testing. I see that in the chat someone asked about Docker and oh, that is the wrong. I think okay, so if you hit Q, Kelly, to get out of this, and then if you do the up arrow to where you were checking out a branch, yep, and then delete the bug number, and you can put in Andrew found 39658.
Which is a fun enhancement. So, and
And
I know
then,
it applies.
cool. And then we can get space BZ apply that bug number.
Or just type the number after that. 39.
And Dan, I just put the link to the Docker in the chat. Oh, space after BZ, yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah, it
quite a
is
few things.
18 patches, but
Okay. Yeah, yes, enter. Applied all nicely. So then if we go to Bugzilla, we'll want to open that up and see what the test plan looks like. So that's bug 339658. And if we scroll way down to near the bottom-ish, is there a test plan for this? Oh, okay, yeah, it's in comment 18 is the test plan. So it added a table in system preferences. So that means that we need to tell Koha that there's a new table and it needs to like rebuild the tables. So back in our terminal, we need to tell it to, we run the command dbic, which runs a script that rebuilds the database schema.
this is stuff that like best case scenario the test plan really clearly tells you to do.
Yeah.
But a lot of developers forget to include those parts. So then you end up just sort of doing them all the time because it doesn't hurt anything to run this extra.
It just
Technically.
takes a little
Yeah.
longer. Okay, then we do update database. Did I do that in the wrong order, or is that the right order, Andrew?
I think you're right.
Okay, that's the order in my alias. So yeah, just all one word, all lowercase, update database. Oh, and yeah, never mind. So it added the table and those preferences. Then, because a bunch of stuff was added, it's generally a good idea to also restart _all. Just, it helps there keep from being like weird things cached. So if we go look at our test plan, it tells us, well, we need to enable all three of those new system preferences. So if we go back to our Koha, the system preferences will be under administration. And what were the system preferences called? They were called, oh, if you type linked, it should bring all of them up. Because, or link. One of them didn't have. Okay. So no issues charged linked accounts is one of them, which was up, oh, no, down more, I think. Yeah. So that one we'll set to 10 USD. We'll set to the allow hold linked account hold pickup to allow. Hit save, so it saves those. And then that requires, oh, those both have a note that have a link to another system preference. And that's the other one we need. So go ahead and click on that. And then enable. And save. So if we go to the checkout, because we need to go to a patron, my go-to is Henry. So if you just type in Henry, Acevedo, I think is his name, but someone called him Henry Avocado the first time I was going through Koha testing stuff, and it stuck in my brain. So if we go to the details page, over on the left, there's details. Yeah, there should. Confirmed the linked account section appears. So if you scroll down,
It's there on the screen. It's right under the guarantor stuff.
oh my gosh, you're right. Thank you.
There's a big button that says add linked
Add
account.
linked account. Okay. Oh, I wonder. Okay. The test plan actually says to link Henry, so I don't know who they're using as their main. But we can link Edna. So we can just search for Edna and select over on the right hand. Oh,
I think we needed to do a yarn build.
oh, maybe. So
Yet
hit
another
OK.
thing that you often need to do on bugs that developers don't always tell you in their test plan.
Yeah. So back on the terminal, if you do yarn space build and hit enter, that just like rebuilds the CSS and any API things. So also if you're doing anything with an API, which probably this is using an API to do that. Yep. So that's why. So now if we refresh the page,
And I think you want to restart all again.
oh, and probably restart all.
Add an underscore, right?
Yeah. yeah, refresh the Koha page. Let's try again, add a linked account. Edna. Okay, so that added one. And then, oh, I think that it was using the Koha account is what was
Oh, sure.
happening. So why don't we add another linked account and just search for Koha and select the first one. Or wait, no, the second one. That's the account you're logged in as right now. And then if you click on where Edna's name is green, it'll go to her account and you can see that they're there. If you click on the Koha, should be the same thing. They're there. So then it says to go to Edna and test the leave linked group. So click on her and then, yep. So she's gone. If you go up in the top right where it has Koha Centerville, very top right,
Mm-hmm.
you can click on that and say my account. And we can see that just Henry is here now. Then we want to relink Edna to the group. So we'll add a linked account again. Then we'll go to accounting over on, yep. We'll create a manual invoice because we need them to have a combined total of more than $10. So we'll just put, I don't know, like $6 on Henry. Save. Go back to details. Okay, and then, yep, same thing, create manual invoice. Yeah, and there's 12 between them. So then if you go to try and check out to one of them, it can't because their collective accounts is over the limit. So that is what we would want. So if we go then to accounting here, or to pay all charges on that screen, because now we need to get it back, we can just say, oh, will it not let me do it without a payment type? Probably.
No, you should be fine.
Okay, so if you confirm and then go back to checkout screen, no longer blocked because $10 was the limit. So that's steps 6 through 9 of the test plan. 3 more things. So place a hold for Koha on an unavailable item. So we can search the catalog. If you search for, nope, it's probably not going to have anything for cats.
It should.
PERL. That's the language Koha's written in. And so there's a bunch of Perl books in the test data. So if you click on holds on like that first one that has an item, any of the ones that have an item really, place hold. We want to place it for Koha, the one that's 42. Yep. That's okay. We'll place the hold anyway. Pickup library is at Centerville, which is where we are. So let's go to the normal view so we can get the barcode because we need to trap the hold next. So on the left-hand side, there's normal view up at the top of the, yep. And then the barcode is in the table. There's just one book, so easy to find the right barcode. We want to copy that. And then up on the top, there's the check-in. Yep, and paste the barcode in. We'll confirm the hold, so it's waiting. And if we go look at your account again with the where
Koha
it
account.
has the Koha Centerville or that, yep, also works.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's waiting. Now we want to go to Henry's account. And we want to try, we'll go to checkout and paste that same barcode in. Say yes, checkout, because that's not a problem. And it was issued to Koha instead of Henry.
And that's the point of this dev. You can link accounts so that if I'm linked with Lizette and I come in and grab Lizette's book off the hold shelf and take it to the circ desk with my card, they can just scan Lizette's book and it checks out to her, even though I'm the one picking it up.
Yep. And then the last step of the test plan is to go in the system preferences and allow linked account hold pickup. If you just do allow link, or yeah, that works too. It's going to be under the, yeah. So disallow or don't allow, save. We'll go put a hold on we can put a hold on the same book. So if you just search the catalog, yep.
Which one was it? No, I don't remember. This one?
I think it was that one, yeah.
Okay.
And then Koha is who we want it to be on hold for. And then I'm pretty sure that that was the same one, so if we just check it in, that same barcode should work.
Okay. Do I still have that? I don't know if I still have that. Let me get that again.
Okay, then you can just copy it again.
Taking it in.
We'll confirm the hold. So this time, if we go to Henry's account, and try checking it out. This is what it normally does if you try checking it out. It comes up and says, hey, this is waiting for somebody else, actually. So it did do what was expected. So the other thing that I always do before I sign off on bugs is in the terminal, in KTD, we have a bunch of tools. We call them the QA tools for quality assurance testing. So in terminal, if you just type QA, enter, it checks to make sure that things are tidy, that tests didn't break, stuff like that. And you don't have to do this, but I find when I'm signing off on stuff, I always do it so that if there's something weird, we can say, hey, actually the test broke, otherwise it worked great. But everything's good. It would come up with like red if something failed. So how many patches are on the bug? Because we need to know that.
18.
Did you say there were 18? Okay.
Yeah.
So if we do git space SO for sign off, space 18, enter. So that added basically at the end of every one of those patches a signed off by you. line. And actually, if you do git log, git space log, you can see your sign-offs. Signed off by Trevor, signed off by Kelly. So then we need to attach the patches so that someone knows you signed them off. So if you hit Q to get out of this view, git space BZ space attach space E to edit
-E.
dash E. Yep, sorry, space dash E space bug number, or does bug number go
Bug number. So
bug number?
39658. This is where I always lose the bug number and then I have to go look it up again.
Yep, that's why I try to name my branch the bug number so I can
Oh yeah.
remember that. Space all capital head and then tilde 18 dot dot. Yes.
Yeah.
So that will attach from head to 18 all of the patches. 18 back. Head is where you are when you do the git log, that first one. Yes. So this part is if you have to. So we want to obsolete. Does it obsolete all the patches right if you only
Yeah, you
did?
don't need to mess. You honestly don't need to do anything on this screen.
Okay. So in
'Cause
this case, you don't need to do anything. So you can just do the escape colon WQ again. We probably didn't need to edit it.
Yeah. If I'd been smarter, I would have found one that was not already actually signed off.
Yeah, so we could do the sign. You can change the sign off if it's signed off or not there as well. But that's okay. I mean, it was a good example because we knew it worked.
Yeah.
But now if you go look at the bug, those are still attaching, but you can see that if you scroll all the way to the bottom, maybe
Oh, you
maybe
needed
it
a
hasn't
different
done that
page.
yet. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So now it has Kelly comments. Those are all you upload in your attachments. So now you have also signed off. Yay! Congratulations. So then we need to do a little cleanup here because you don't really need this branch anymore. So you can git checkout main spaces in between each of those words. And then git space branch space capital dash capital D to delete space and then bug underscore. And if you just tab, it should autofill, I think. Oh, right, because we have both. Well, we can delete both of them. So first do 6 and then tab. And then enter. And then if you just do up arrow and then delete the numbers and tab again and hit enter. And now you don't have any extra branches. Yay! I always love when people get new Koha testing Dockers set up. You can go ahead and stop sharing your screen. I'm gonna pull up probably not that one because well, yeah, we'll do Okay, so I've gotten, well, first, does anyone have any questions? If you're trying to set up your Koha testing Docker, um, and have any questions, you can ask on the Mattermost, or you can email the Baby Devs mail-in list, which is babydevs@koha-us.org, or come to our Baby Devs meeting that's once a month on the second Tuesday of the month. We troubleshoot KTDs, we test bugs, we walk Jason through writing bugs, and then make the decision collectively not to make it a system preference, and then Lucas goes back and makes it a system preference later. Um, so that's it's a roller coaster, says Jason. And we take turns sharing. It's not always the same person sharing every week all the time. Um, except for when Jason was making his bug, because we kept having to QA it or do QA follow-ups. But
We didn't even get into all the fun stuff that KTD lets you do that like the sandboxes don't,
yeah,
like going into the SQL database and changing stuff there, or running cron jobs for bugs that need you to test how a cron job works.
yes. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about was one thing that you can do to make Koha Test and Docker a little bit easier for you to use is that in your Koha folder, I'm going to open it up and then share my screen. Koha. Okay, so when I find Zoom again, share my screen. So in my Koha folder, I have a folder called Shared. And this is something that's like built into Koha. And in here, I have like some custom bash aliases and stuff. But one of the things is that if you have custom SQL, then when you spin up your Koha testing Docker or um, reset the database, which is something you can do that sets it back to how it was at the beginning, you can have it make some of these changes. And so like I have it set to make the minimum password length 3 and not require a strong password, because sometimes I have to go in and edit permissions for somebody and then log in, and I don't want to have to make a strong password for Henry just to go log in and make sure that the permissions are working right or whatever. I do a lot with ILL, so I turn it on by default, turn all the all the logs on by default, because I find that what happens is I'll go do the thing and then forget to have turned the logs on, so I can't tell that the logs are working. So I just say turn on all the logs. And these are just SQL statements that you could also run in the like Koha shell. And then also add some emails. This is a mess because borrower messaging preferences are a mess, but this just turns on for Henry all the emails, and for Edna all the texts. Or backwards, maybe. That might be backwards. So, some of these I set up like a year ago when I was working on a patch about local holds priority, and I was just like left them in there. So now I always have holds for people. Um, things like that. And just so that means I always have like there is an ILL request, I can go to test an ILL request bug and things like that. Um, also have some custom aliases, which is mostly just um, different grep things, which I don't mostly use, but someone gave me all of these once and I said, yeah. Mostly I use the git log one line, which just shows one line of it instead of like the whole thing, so you can just see where you are really easily. Um, I tried setting up my bash history so that I could save my bash history, but I did not get it working. Um, but those are some things you can do, some like custom stuff that way to make it easier. And I actually have this on a GitHub, so if other people want to use it, it's available. Um, and we also have, is it this one? No. There are a few other helpful links like this. I will find them and put them in the chat shortly. Um, we have some like handy scripts that Nick wrote. Do, do, do. Git clean. And one of the things that I put early in the chat was for, oh, there we go. So these are some handy scripts that Nick wrote that just do like generate a bunch of random holds in the old holds or whatever. Make a lot of patrons because I need to do something with a lot of patrons. Things like that. Um, just so you don't have to like go in and do it manually. Just some little scripts that do it. So there's a lot you can do with Koha testing Docker. Like Andrew was saying, uh, okay. You can, when you are in your Koha test in Docker, you can get into the SQL database. Oh, MySQL, and then and you can tab for those. And this just lets you do like inline or in terminal SQL commands, which can be helpful for like changing a due date on something or whatever. And you can do, oh, I need to see what all is in the borrowers table. And it'll give you kind of like the schema real basically. Um, things like that are helpful.
Well, like
You
I
can
was
also
testing
do,
something about fines earlier today that it was really easy to jump into the database and just delete all of the fines in the system to start
yeah,
fresh again after I'd made a little mess,
without
which
having to reset everything and
yeah.
reset up the rest of it. Yeah. Um, so that's nice. Um, what are some other cool things you can do in Koha test and Docker that you can't do? Plugins. You can test plugins. Um, you can sort of test plugins in sandboxes, but there's a lot you can't do, like commands wise, and it's a little more likely to get weird. So
I
if
mean,
you want to set up plugins, there's some instructions on the Koha testing Docker website about that, or you can ask anyone, or come to Baby Devs. Yeah. Does anyone have any questions?
I'll toss in that my favorite thing to do in Koha testing Docker that you can't do on a sandbox is reset all,
Oh, yeah. And that's what I
which
was
just
talking about earlier, where um you can reset all and it says, oh, it's going to erase all your data. Are you sure? And I'll say, yes.
and it just sets you back to where your Koha was
When
when
you
you first
first
brought KTD
brought
up,
it up.
before you broke everything.
Yeah. So that's really helpful. Basically, it just like populates the database, sets some settings, inserts like the structure, and runs all these SQL files. And that's also where it does the shared file is somewhere in there. if you go back and look, it actually shows up where it's like doing this, shared slash SQL, custom SQL. So yeah, I guess we should probably show you how to go KTD down and
Yeah, because
exit
someday you'll
it
want
and
to close it.
close. Someday you'll want to close it, yeah. Where'd my Zoom controls go? Okay. Kelly, do you want to share again? So if you type exit, enter, now you're back on your MacBook. Um, and if you do KTD or just KD, I think was what you had, Andrew, and hit
Yeah,
enter,
I don't know that that's standard though. Well, give it a try.
good try. Yep,
Oh, yeah, okay.
brings it down. And if you look at your other window that it had stolen earlier, now you can see that it's exited. So it did logged all the way down to that.
If you
So
had like
that's pretty
force
nice.
closed that window instead of bringing it down, it would have been very cranky when you tried to bring it up the next time.
Yeah. Um, the other thing is if you haven't been on in a while, and even though I'm on these all the time, at least once a week, I have everything down and I run KTD space up or KT pull, KTD space pull to pull if there's been any changes on the Koha testing Docker repo. And I also go into Koha, the Koha folder and do a git pull. And those are on a lot of the information. A lot of the links I had shared had that information because that'll make sure that you have the most up-to-date versions. Also, usually when I go to KTD, when I log in the first time, I'll often do a git pull on the main branch just to make sure that it's all up to date. So, yeah. Does anyone have any? You can stop sharing again, Kelly. Does anyone have any questions or anything? I mean, I could get real complicated with the things that I show you that KTD can do, but I don't want to overwhelm you.
I think you can't understate just the convenience of having it. Like even if you don't get into applying patches or fiddling with bugs and stuff, it's nice to have a little Koha system in your pocket that you can do whatever you want in. You can test whatever you want and easily reset it to just like test how something works in a sort of more constrained environment rather than, I don't know, fiddling with system preferences or circ rules in your live production server.
Mm-hmm.
We'll break stuff, and also there are like 1,000 compounding variables already.
Yep.
Casey has a good question.
And run cron chops over and over until it does what you want. Casey asked, is there a good print slash console log from Koha? You can use some STD, I don't know how to pronounce it, stitter. Uh, sometimes some scripts have that, or we've put that in when we're debugging sometimes. Um, I don't know if there's anything that like by default you can just easily follow console logs on, but you can sometimes what I'll do, and this is the kind of thing that like is a mess to do in uh like a live server because it's super broad. I'm gonna share my screen again. Is you can see my mess. I've got a lot going on, but this is my login. So it's just all the logs, it's following them all. Well, all the error logs today. So anytime I do something that causes an error, it's gonna update here. Um, and oh no. Or you can even just do all the logs. And then like anytime you do something, I'll do it on the other screen so you can more easily see that something's happening. I'm gonna maybe make things happen. Maybe none of it's gonna be something that logs, I guess. That's interesting because that definitely should have been logging. I'm not sure why that wasn't logging, but you can like follow the logs that way. So that's something that I do. Yeah, I know that for you can output specifically tell things to do stitcher whatever, but I don't think that there's like a super easy way to just do it by default. But that was a good question. And also, I love the run cron jobs over and over until it does what you want comment, because sometimes that's what it feels like. Um, okay, I changed it. I did a small tweak. Now I'm gonna run the same cron job again. No, it still didn't do what I wanted. Okay, now I tweaked another thing. Still didn't do what I wanted. So, yeah. Oh yeah. Helped me figure out what I wanted in an XSL file. Would have had to wait days otherwise to see if it worked. Yep. Cool. Well, anyone else have any questions or anything that they want to talk about before we go? Trying to find my make sure I can chat. Okay, I think sounds like we can wrap up then. Thanks for coming, everybody.
Thanks all. Happy KTDs.
Happy KTDs.